It is now my pleasure to introduce our opening session keynote speaker. You may have seen Dominique Dawes breaking records as a gold medal winning gymnast and part of the 1996 Summer Olympics Magnificent Seven squad. Today, she is the owner of the Dominique Dawes Gymnastics and Ninja Academies. Dominique opened the gyms to continue her commitment to developing a healthy and compassionate culture in the sport of gymnastics. Dawes holds her degree from the University of Maryland and was inducted into UMD's prestigious Hall of Fame in 2022 as a wife, mother of four, Olympian, and business owner. Dominique Dawes has transcended the world of sports, politics, entertainment, and culture. The Olympian likes to share her experiences of both setbacks and success to audiences around the globe, reminding everyone that defeat should never define you. AANP members, we are so excited to welcome the winner of 4 Olympic medals, Dominique Dawes.
Please sit down. The career is over. It is so over. Thank you. That is so sweet. That's my mom there. Yeah. People ask me even to this day if I can still flip. And I'm like, yeah, I can do a cartwheel. And they're like, boo. How many of you all remember me from the 1996 Olympic Games? That's awesome. Being a part of the Magnificent Seven, the first ever women's gymnastics team to win a gold medal, was truly an honor. And to still talk about what that team was able to accomplish 28 plus years later is unreal to me. And it's always a joy that a number of people will come up to me and they'll share with me either how they loved a teammate of mine, or they remember the Magnificent Seven, or I meant so much to them, and they'll remember those Olympic Games like it was yesterday. They'll remember exactly where they were in a family member's house or in their home. And then many times they'll follow up with saying, you know, my mom or my dad or my grandparent or my aunt or uncle loved you, and they're no longer here today. And I felt, no, meaning they passed away, that they're no longer here today, and they felt the need to tell me how much my team or myself impacted that individual. And I am always so touched by that, because throughout my career, which was nearly 18 years long, it was never just about gymnastics. It was never just about the sport of gymnastics. It had to do more about planting a positive seed or impacting people or leaving a lasting legacy. And whenever I hear those stories, you know, it warms my heart to know that I was a part of someone's life and I made them smile, or I made them laugh, or I made them cry. Because when I fell, I wasn't the only one crying. There were many people that cried. And so it's a joy, and it's an honor, and it's a privilege to have had that journey in my life, to know that I could touch and change someone else's life. And I'm speaking to nurse practitioners, so you guys know exactly what I'm talking about, because you guys have the opportunity to do that on a daily basis, Now, I remember when I was in the sport of gymnastics when I was, 10 or 11 years old, and I'm gonna be really telling my age now. But how many of you all remember like pen pals or fan mail letters? Like paper. Paper and a pen, paper and a pencil. When I was little, I won some local competition. I beat everyone. Like it was like 18-year-olds in the meets for some reason back then. And, you know, in a high school level meet, and I won. And after that, I became this like local phenom. And I started receiving fan mail letters. I remember when I got my first letter, my mom said, hey, there's a letter addressed to you. And I'm thinking, oh no, do teachers write students personally and send their report cards to them? Great. And I remember opening it up, and it was probably a young girl, though young boys would write me, parents, aunts and uncles of young little athletes would write me. But I remember it was a little young girl just saying, you were amazing to watch, or you make me want to dream big in the sport of gymnastics, or you want me to set big goals. And I remember being so touched by that because I thought, little old me, that didn't have these high, lofty expectations or think that I could impact someone else's life, and to receive a fan mail letter and then hundreds and then thousands of fan mail letters. And my mom, at one point, there was a rule in my house: homework first, then fan mail letters. But on a serious note, that was at an early stage, which made me realize that the sport of gymnastics, my calling, wasn't just about sport. It was about planting a positive seed and touching someone else's life. And that's what kept me in the sport for 18 long years. And that's what's actually even kept me in the profession of public speaking, which I never thought I would ever go into. When I won my first Olympic Games, and trust me, I'll tell you about this little piece of hardware. I normally pass it around, but this audience is way too big, so it ain't gonna come back. And I only have one. I'm not Michael Phelps. I don't have like 44 gold medals where I'm like, oh, that one can stay away. No, I got one. But at a young age, I realized I could make that positive difference in someone else's life. And this was a part of my journey. And with public speaking, I never thought this would be something that I would truly love to do. As a young person, you guys went through these moments, I'm sure, in life. But I remember vividly when I was 4th or 5th grade, I got mommy brain. I got 4 kids. That was in the intro. You heard that. So I'm sucking in really hard right now. I used to be on stage and I'd be like, Spanx aren't needed, just do crunches. After birthing twins full term, I'm like, yep, Spanx are wonderful. Whoever started those, that is phenomenal. I just forgot them for this trip, unfortunately. But this public speaking, never thought I would ever go into this field. 4th and 5th grade, I was an okay student. And I remember raising my hand in class. Teacher called on me, raised my hand. Since you guys weren't there, I got it right. But I remember answering a question, and I had my normal voice. And why is it that Olympic gymnasts always sound like we suck on helium? Doesn't it? We're like, they'll ask us a question, we'll be like, go USA! We love our country! The reporter's like, what? I can't hear you. No, that's just how we speak. When we were young, 4th and 5th grade, raised my hand, sounded like that. My peers laughed at me. I was humiliated. I might have been the greatest gymnast or going to be an Olympic hopeful, but my peers laughed at me. I was embarrassed. I remember kind of going into a shell. And by nature, I am very private. By nature, I am very introverted. My husband thinks, oh, it's your celebrity that's made you this way. I'm like, no, how do you think I got to 3 Olympic Games? I had no social life. Nor did I ever want one. 3 Olympic Games as a child. So I was always just very introverted. But this actually made me build up a wall. And I remember after winning this piece of hardware with my teammates in 1996, I had an opportunity to do a speech. They asked for 15 minutes. I remember thinking that is going to be the longest 15 minutes of my life. Because after I was laughed at, after I was ridiculed, I stopped speaking up in school. I don't think I ever raised my hand in class after that. And when you have those presentations and you get those butterflies in your stomach when you're a young child, those were bats. I would have rather continued to compete in 14 Olympic Games than to stand up in front of my peers and give a 5-minute presentation. Even in college, I was quiet. People that come to my academies today, they're like, oh, I was in school with you, or what have you. And I was like, oh, did I talk to you? And they were like, no, you didn't talk to anyone. You were really, really shy. But a lot of that had to do with that one experience that I went through as a child. And winning an Olympic gold medal did not build my confidence and help me forget about that humiliation or that embarrassment. And I say all this to say, each and every one of us have gone through experiences in life that have hurt us, that have wounded us. And we're vowing that we're never going to have that feeling again, and many times we will build up that wall. And in 1996, when I was standing behind a podium for the first time sharing my Olympic story, I remember freezing on stage and taking myself back to that place of feeling so humiliated and embarrassed. And then realizing I have a voice, and it doesn't need to be silenced. And even though, even to this day, when I'm away, My husband sometimes likes to show my kids YouTube videos of my performance, because when I'm home, I'm like, I am not watching any of my gymnastics, because my kids are like, yeah, she can't do anything. She does a cartwheel. But when I'm gone, they'll show YouTube videos and things of that nature. And many times they like to show, my husband likes to show interviews when I was a kid, because it's kind of cool, I think, for kids to see, their parent as a child. And one of the times I came home, the kids were like, hey, chipmunk. And I'm like, where did that come from? What chipmunk? And they were like, oh, we watched an interview and you sounded like a chipmunk. And I was like, 4th and 5th grade, it's back. No, I was laughing at it. Who cares? Who cares? We need to look at experiences in life, and many of them can be painful. Many of them are full of so much joy. And if you can laugh at some, or smile, that is such a beautiful thing. And I can proudly say that I can watch my Olympic floor routine that I fell on. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. I had the ability to win the all-around at the Atlanta Olympic Games, and guess what? So what? I failed. You're gonna fail in life. You're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna say something stupid. You're gonna put your foot in your mouth. Hopefully it doesn't occur in front of nearly 50,000 people in the Georgia Dome with 3.4 billion people watching around the globe like I did, but we're human. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. We learn from mistakes. We learn from heartache, and we learn from pain, and we learn, believe it or not, from loss. Every now and then I do weep that I came from a household that was full of so much addiction and so much abuse. Every now and then I do weep, and I look and I see a mom and a daughter having coffee or having lunch or breakfast or dinner or walking in the park. Does that really occur still today? It does. And I wish my mom was capable of doing that with me. I used to weep. I used to not have joy in everyday life because of many painful experiences that I witnessed in life. But when you wake up and you realize that many times these painful experiences in life is just a part of your journey, how can that make you better, not bitter? How can you help someone else through that pain, through that loss, through that sorrow? I think it's a gift at times to be wounded. My greatest vocation and calling in life is not being an Olympic athlete. My greatest vocation and calling in life is not being a motivational speaker. My greatest gift and calling in life is not to scale my academies. And even though my academies are inspiring thousands of people, and I love it because I've got an amazing team that helps support me each and every day, for me, my greatest gift and calling in life is to be a mom. Now, I've got this gold medal here because my husband reminds you people don't hire you because you are a mom of 4. They love what you did for your country, for your race, and we sacrificed a lot for this. Bring the gold medal for you all, and I want to say thank you. I know many of you cheered for us, and we couldn't have done it without your cheers, without your prayers. 96 was extremely tough. There was an enormous amount of pressure that went into that with that amazing team. And I love to share how we were able to do this because we had some big egos. The sport of gymnastics, as you guys know, is an individual sport. Don't let that one day of team competition fool you. It's an individual sport. When you start at a very young age, 4, 5, 6 years old, we even have 9-month-old start at my academy, which is super fun because it's parent taught, parent guardian and taught. They have a blast and they learn the fundamentals. But when you start the sport of gymnastics, it is just you on that 4-inch balance beam 4 feet off the ground. It is just you running down that vault runway, and it was terrifying back in the day with the old vault, and you flipping and then praying you're going to land on your feet. It's just you flipping over the uneven parallel bars. And so I've always been trained to have that me, myself, and I mentality. Never played team sports, never played objective sports, wish I did, which is why my 4 kids today will not just be gymnasts. Gymnastics will train you to become a perfectionist, and I always say if you want to fail in life, have the mindset of a gymnast. Strive for that perfect 10. You are human. You are human. Guess how many mistakes you're going to make? A whole hell of a lot of mistakes. Every day? Yes. You might feel like you're in the zone, you might feel like you're rocking it, and guess what? Humanity sets in and you make a mistake. And it doesn't mean you're a failure, but striving for perfection, you will be dissatisfied. Another thing that the sport of gymnastics taught me was comparing myself to others because, why? We were always under a microscope. We were always being judged. And I remember being a decent gymnast that I remember doing a beam routine, sticking everything, and thinking, that was amazing. And guess what? That coach shot me down very quickly. And I didn't even say it, so I was like, how did she realize I thought I was amazing? Because I probably smiled. And they made it very clear, oh, you did this wrong, this wrong, this wrong, this wrong. Did you see how that person's body type is? Did you see how quickly they picked up this? Do you see how she's more compassionate? Susie's always smiling. Sorry, Susie. Smiling, Susie. It's so easy to compare yourself to others, isn't it? Someone's a little smarter, they pick up things a little quicker, they're a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more organized, right? Things come a little easier to them, people gravitate to them, ask them questions more, and you're like, why is it not me? You're gonna always be dissatisfied. Don't have that mentality of perfection or comparison because that truly is what leads to failure. But how was I able to be a part of an amazing team that became known as the Magnificent Seven? Life is all about this journey, right? And we want to strive to get to the top of the mountaintop, right? That's a goal. Who wants to get to the top of the mountaintop alone? Raise your hand if you want to be called out. She's like, I'm pointing at her, but she's like, I'm totally taking a photo, but I personally, no. Anyone want to be on top of the mountain alone? I'm private. I'm introverted. I really am. My husband's like, you're not. But I'm like, I am. You're not. And I don't want to be on top of the mountain alone. Could you imagine being on top of a mountain alone and seeing such beauty, such amazement, and looking around and saying, wow, self, this is so amazing. I wish others could see it, but it's just me, myself, and I. It's a choice. The way that I was able to get on top of that mountaintop with the Magnificent Seven, with 6 of the most talented, hardworking girls that I ever competed with or against my whole career, is we chose to take our large, inflated egos that we had as teenagers, and we checked them at the door. How does a teenager have an inflated ego? Well, in today's generation, it's just, that does happen. We were national champions, world champions. I was in a previous Olympic team, so was Shannon Miller, so was Carrie Strug. I had signed a full scholarship to a desirable university. Some had made a substantial amount of money even before those Olympic Games. They had endorsements. You can get an inflated ego with the likes, with the follows, with the accolades, with the degrees, with the net worth, with the power, with the prestige. How much of that really leads to satisfaction and happiness and fulfillment and true everlasting joy? It's good to accomplish things, and it will inflate your ego if you allow the world to allow your ego to get inflated. But remember, don't climb up on that pedestal. You can set it there for me, and it looks all shiny and gold. But guess what? I don't want to sit on it because I know what happens next. Ego. If you would have seen us train together back in Greensboro, North Carolina, prior to the Olympic Games, our egos were intact. We didn't care about making history. We didn't care about representation. It was all me, myself, and I. It wasn't until one day, and we picked from an affirmation jar all these great positive sayings, and many times it would go out in one ear and out the other. And one day we picked from the affirmation jar, team, together, everyone achieves. Oh my gosh, that was so weak. Team, together, everyone achieves more. More. And we were very smart young teenagers. And for whatever reason, that saying, a light bulb went off. I checked my ego, Shannon checked her ego, Carrie checked her ego, Amy checked her ego, Amanda checked her ego, JC checked her ego, and Dominique Mociano checked her ego. The next day we walked into practice, we actually walked in as one unit, as a team. We put our differences aside. If you want to see different individuals, put all 7 of us together. We have different interests, we have different experiences, we have different everything, views in life. We didn't necessarily get along. We weren't friends, we were competitors. But when we made that collective effort to put our country first, to check our egos at the door, that's how we were able to bring home that hardware and make history. Team. We live in life with others, even if you don't like the others, even if you don't love the others, even if you don't understand the others. I don't get why you think the way you do, but guess what? You haven't walked a day in their moccasins. And I can say that because I'm a part of a Native American tribe. I am. Not that we don't have our own views and feel strongly about our views. But when you're working collectively as a team and egos come into play, you will break the foundation of that team. Just think about the amount of teams that you go through in life, and don't worry, Stephen, I'm going to stop so we can do Q&A. I had my Olympic team. People like to hear a little bit about that story. I have my team that's a part of my academies that are running right now. We have hundreds of kids that we're serving right now, a part of our summer camps. And guess what? I'm not there, and I'm the CEO still. I trust, I delegate, and I bring in people, not that are robots of myself, but that people believe in the vision. They're aligned with what our goals are. And then me as a leader, I have to check my ego at the door because I have to trust. You're not going to be able to trust if you've got your ego in play. And let me end with just this. What's your most important team in life? Your family. Thick and thin. Death do us part. I told my husband, I am a product of a divorced household. Ain't gonna happen again, buddy boy. I let him know that. I got married a little later in life. This is your shot. We fight. We are human, but we are committed. When I walk through my doors and my ego takes center stage, I have a problem with everything and everyone. When I have an ego and I drive up into my driveway, my house isn't the nicest one in the neighborhood. It's actually the least nice one in the neighborhood. And I'll have a problem with my home. I'll walk through the doors, I'll have a problem with my children's toys that are gonna be sprawled into the sitting room and living room. I'll have a problem with the always 10 loads of laundry that always need to be done. I'll have a problem with my husband's flip-flops that are always on the stairs. Who comes out of your flip-flop when you're walking? He does. He does. I'll have a problem with the way that he incorrectly loaded the dishwasher. He does. It's not even funny. Cups going this way, knives going straight up. I'm gonna cut myself, or my kids are gonna get injured. I'm gonna have a problem with my husband just sitting there. in his chair, not moving, and our kids are just being kids outside. You have to do something and dictate. I'm going to have a problem with every single thing in my most important team if my ego is intact. When I make the concerted effort, God willing, I get home today. Nothing's promised. Nothing's promised. If you look through the lens of life that way, wouldn't you live differently? And I have this like great mindset. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna totally be more optimistic. And then all of a sudden, nope. But nothing's promised. Nothing's promised. God willing, I get home. I check my ego at the door. Guess what? I'm thankful I have a roof over my head. Not everyone has a home. I'm thankful I have little angels because I've had some losses. I'm thankful that I have these 4 little angels and they're toys to pick up. I remember being 34, single, and thinking, oh, it's not in the cards for me. And you know what? It's not always for everyone. But if I check my ego, I have a whole new appreciation for what's important. I encourage each and every one of you all, as you strive to get on top of that mountaintop and whatever that is in your vocation or your calling or your profession or your life, do know that you are not going to be wanting to look at the majestic view that you will see alone. And if you want to be up there with your most important team, and I would highly make sure you prioritize your most important team, make the concerted effort to check your ego at the door, and you'll truly see what true happiness, fulfillment, and joy that is everlasting, full of fights, full of disagreements, full of tears, full of heartache and sometimes regret, but that is what true fulfillment, joy, and I believe happiness is all about. I want to thank you guys here, having me here this morning. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem.
For that talk. I have a deal for you to consider. So I have these
wonderful
sock
game. I love it.
hard NP socks.
I love it.
Do you want to trade for your medal?
Okay. You know what? My husband has quite a pretty impressive sock game, so I might want to steal those from you.
All right. Well,
yes.
you know.
Yeah.
The deal stands if you want to take me up on it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. No that was an amazing story. You've been a strong advocate for various causes. Can you share some of your advocacy, and what advice would you give to us nurse practitioners to advocate for our profession and for our patients?
You know, when I first started out in, my professional walk of realizing I was not going to live in a leotard for the rest of my life, that was a hard wake-up call. Honestly, it was for me. I had only been in the sport of gymnastics. I did nothing else. Like, literally, I just got asked to throw out the first pitch at the Orioles game, MLB, and I can't throw a ball. So I do a flip. I give the ball to my 6-year-old son who can, throw a rope. So, it was hard when my career was over to determine, like, what is the path that I should go down? And I've always found focusing on self-esteem, mental health, but it was more so focused on self-esteem for young girls and women, a calling of mine. And I think it had to do with the fact that throughout my career, I never believed in myself. I never thought I was enough. I talked about the little story of 4th, 5th grade with the squeaky voice or being bullied in school because I was short. You don't want to be an Olympic hopeful or an Olympian in school because you get picked on for being most likely to succeed, And so, I just never believed in myself. But I think a lot of that came from, unfortunately, what I went through in the home and then also the culture in the sport of gymnastics. So my focus has always been on helping build the self-esteem and focusing on emotional and mental health when it comes to young girls and comes to young women. And just physical activity is so important, and the work that I did with the Obama administration bipartisan issue, which is why I was excited to get involved. But being physically fit really does help your overall health. It helps with your emotional health. It helps with your mental health. And it also helps with your social health because you feel more confident and secure in yourself. And so those callings have been always so important to me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And speaking of trying to be physical fit, how do you stay motivated? How can we stay motivated?
I'm like, I will be asking you advice. These days, I must say, I have spread myself a little too thin. I'll be honest, I'm failing in that area right now. I'm sucking it in hard. I mentioned that. I'm sucking it in hard. And it's not just about like looks, but it's about really getting out there and utilizing your body. I mean, it's a vessel. You want to make sure you're using it physically and challenging yourself on a daily basis. And I haven't been doing it well. People talk about work-life balance. That is a joke. And so I'm working on, all of this, it's like ridiculous. Like all of this is fake. Like if you saw me not this is not, And so I'm trying to find a way to better prioritize what's important to me. And as women, we have to realize we need to be important. Because why? If we're not together, much of our house falls apart. But, then our married life, us being a parent, us being a good friend, a steward to others, is going to be jeopardized. And so that's something that even, my kids have said, hey, Mommy, you're not here. And I'm like, oh, no, I'm here. I'm here. I'm working and running the companies from home. But they're like, no, you're not here. And they're wise. They're 10, 8, and 6-year-olds. I have 6-year-old twins. And my kids have now said to me for a while now, I work too much, you're not present. And I think sometimes just being physically present is present, and it's not. So I'm making some adjustments to my life so that my priorities can be set straight.
Absolutely. Yeah. Great advice. Many professionals, including some nurse practitioners, may struggle with imposter syndrome. Have you ever experienced this? And if so, how do you overcome it?
Define imposter syndrome, because I'm like that generation that we didn't grow up with this. So this is like a new term. Believing you don't deserve to. Yeah,
like, you've been able to, you're in a position, you sort of, fake it till you make it type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
How have you ever experienced that, and how?
Every day. I don't. It has a name. It's another title on something. That's great. I have to find that in my vocabulary. You're not going to feel like you're meant to be there all the time. I talked about earlier knowing what's going on in your mind. And I thought, it's all about controlling your thoughts, and I'm not going to have these negative thoughts, or I'm not going to have these self-doubting thoughts, or I'm not going to, I can just shift it that easily. No, sometimes they're just always going to be there, and just know, unfortunately, in some cases, this is just how you are wired, and you just have to take a step forward. You just have to, silence the thoughts that are going on in your head and smile. That's something that Michelle Obama said to me when I was being awarded something at the White House, and I was like, I kind of didn't mumble it. I kind of said it out loud, and I was like, I never believed. And she was like, fake it till you make it. And just kind of put it on in a way in which, you believe in yourself, you've got confidence, not cockiness. We don't want to have these egocentric individuals walking around that they think it's about me, myself, and I, and I'm so grandiose and so amazing. Then you'll be really shot down. But you want to have confidence in yourself and believe in your abilities and the impact that you can make, but also be open to feedback, be open to criticism. Don't be crushed by criticism. Don't think that someone's judging you personally based on giving you some constructive feedback. It's a good thing. And in some cases, constructive feedback is useful, and it'll help you learn and grow. And in some cases, you'll be like, I'm not going to take that one. That wasn't needed. But, it's just a part of life. Mm-hmm. You sometimes do have to, fake it till you make it. When I got the call that I was going to be, a part of the Atlanta Falcons ownership group, a part of a limited partnership, for the longest time, I was like, there's no way I'm going to have a shot. Like, I'm a gymnast, or what have you. And then when I got the call, I was like, wow, what a great opportunity. Now I can make a greater impact in another market. And so,
That's amazing.
That's going to happen.
Thank you. Well, we were thrilled to have you, and your advice is excellent for us, and I can't be more grateful for you to be here. So, thank you, Dominique. Members, let's give her one more round of applause.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.